Hello and welcome to the video for animation for Thursday, October 1st. Let people in from the waiting room.
Good morning.
What up, fam?
Blake, is that a new little icon you got for yourself there?
No, I've actually had it. For some reason, Zoom logs me out every now and again and it disappears, but
It's pretty cool. What's it from?
it's an anime, My Hero Academia.
It's Deku.
Yeah.
Cool. Looks fun. Yeah. Where is that available? Is it on Netflix or on YouTube or?
Unfortunately, it's on Funimation. They like to hold on
That
to
or
their
Crunchyroll.
properties. Yeah, Crunchyroll too, if you want something freer.
It's also on Hulu, I think.
Is Crunchyroll
Good
free?
series.
Do you have to
Sick.
do you have to pay for Crunchyroll or is it free?
It's free with
It's
ads.
free, but you get commercials.
Yeah.
If you get the premium, you get it without commercials.
Yeah, and the premium is only like $7 a month, I think.
Oh, okay. And is it pretty much the place to go for anime?
Pretty
Subbed
much.
anime.
If you like subbed anime, dubbed anime, you go to Funimation.
Yep.
Funimation has both. I pay like $6.94 a month for Funimation.
So I'm sorry, I didn't hear the two types of anime. What are they?
Subbed and dubbed.
As in subtitle or somebody speaking over in an English accent.
Oh,
English language.
so subtitle is one and the other one is dub.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Dub and dub. Okay.
yeah.
What do you guys like?
Both?
Both?
I like both, but I prefer sub.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
sometimes
I'm a dub guy.
sometimes when they dub it, it's pretty obvious that it's not working, or is it pretty good?
It
It's
depends
just
on the show.
It's usually
some
fine.
people's voices.
For the most part, like either the voices don't match or their acting isn't up to par.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
there are some times where the voice just does not match the character.
I think the opposite. The only time I've ever had the opposite reaction is Dragon Ball Z, where the voices just don't match in the Japanese version.
Oh my god, I can't stand Goku's Japanese voice.
Yeah,
He sounds like a 14-year-old girl.
I know.
Well, his
I mean,
voice
they're all
actor
voiced by a
is an old
female, so it
lady,
makes
yeah.
sense. But at the same time, it sounds like a 14-year-old girl. So it's like,
I know.
so I started watching this cartoon on Netflix that is based on a video game. It's called Dragon's Dogma.
oh,
Yeah.
Has anybody seen that?
I
My
didn't know
friend
there was a
has.
show.
It's kind of weird. It's like what they did was they took these rigged 3D characters from the game. I'm assuming I haven't seen the game, and turned it into a cartoon. And so all the characters are like they're kind of robotic and everything. It's kind of funny.
Like the
Um,
Berserk anime. What
yeah,
they did to it.
yeah, but it's cool. I'm exploring different styles to see, just what's out there right now. Um,
I got the newest game on the Switch or the remake or whatever they did for it that they ported over. It's pretty good.
yeah,
Dragon's
that's
Dogma.
that's a really good game.
Speaking of games, real quick, anyone see that the new Smash Bros. Announcement for the character?
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh my God.
They added
Oh, wait.
Minecraft Steve.
Wait, who was it?
Minecraft Steve.
No way.
Computer.
Yep. It's Steve from Minecraft. I don't know why, but he's
That's
there.
literally the one character I did not expect.
He's the one character I jokingly suggested, not thinking he would get added in.
I was completely caught off guard.
I mean, it's basically like the Wii Fit trainer, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Okay, let me see. Let me get all you guys in the attendance here, and then we can get started. So Zion, how are you doing? I see your microphone is turned on. I wonder if you can talk to me. Guess not. Okay. Well, Zion, if you hear me at any point, maybe chime in and say hello. Okay. I got everybody in the attendance. So now we have to go to the class website, share the screen, share. Okay. So of course we're going to do a cognitive drawing file today. I'm going to click on this little link here for the file itself. And go to my downloads. Oops, I didn't quite get it. It seems like. Let me try again. All right, there we go. Day 7. All right, let's see. Day 7. In Photoshop. Oh my gosh. Day 7. Put it into Photoshop. Okay. Ooh, there's 4 pages in this one. Let's open them up. They're not all drawing pages, but okay, so I'm not sure where my Photoshop interface went. It seems to be MIA. I hate that when you can't find your freaking program. Okay, well, that's okay. We'll just deal with it. Anyway, today's going to be about faces, and I'll go ahead and let Jason talk a little bit about it in his video. And meanwhile, you guys can download the files.
Okay, so we're going to start focusing on faces. So what face style here would you say is correct? The answer is really all of them. So let me explain. I believe that your style evolves as you copy all of your favorite artists. If you like an artist's style and then you spend some time drawing in their style, you will naturally start drawing with some of their characteristics. So even though cognitive drawing is great for learning styles, aside from style, let's try to figure out what all these faces have in common so we can study the proportions of the face, okay? So if we overlay all of the faces on top of each other, what do you notice? Well, aside from them looking like a creepy face, the first thing that becomes clear is that we are dealing with an egg shape for the head. The eyes seem to generally line up in the center of the head, right here. If you divide the egg in 2, divide the face into 4 sections, and you can see the eyes generally line up where the dotted lines intersect. So these lines here and this line. Eyeballs are right there. Notice how the outside of the nose generally lines up with the inside of the eyebrow line, right here. The eyebrow line and the outside of the nose. It generally lines up. Notice how the lips land somewhere between the bottom quarter. Right, somewhere in there, usually the lips are. You'll find all kinds of shapes by doing this. Now, I'm not a fan of making guides like this for all your drawings unless you want to make everyone look like a robot. But if you study the proportions until you memorize them, then one day you can break all these rules if you want. So there you go. I am a robot. Looks like a robot because we drew all these guides in. Memorize these guides. Really try to be able to do this from memory. And then you won't have to draw these guides anymore because you'll just kind of know where things kind of line up generally. All right, so now that we've kind of talked about the face and the structure, let's just try to make a real basic looking face right here. And we're going to just try to copy this image with all the things we just talked about.
Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do is, so this, oh good, my Photoshop finally decided to join the club. But let's see, is my, oh, there we go. And now I get all my stuff. All right, so the first one we don't need anymore. That was just explanatory. So I don't have to save that. The second one is in the same category. And we're going to start on the third one. So I'm going to pull that up into my thing here. And then the fourth one, I believe we're going to do today as well after we're done with the third one. So let's start on this third page here. And looks like we're going to do two things here. We're going to draw the face, and then we might sketch a little face in there for him. And then this is that whole idea about sleeping on something, drawing something a few days after you've drawn it initially. So here we're going to try and remember the eyes that we drew a couple days ago, or a couple classes ago, I should say. So face, face, eyes. All right. Let's see. Oops. Oh, don't forget to draw a layer. I always do that. I always forget to put a layer on my thing before I start drawing. So put a layer on there before you start drawing.
I think it's also useful if you remember to change the color.
It's also helpful to change the color.
Well, yeah, when you're doing other things and you save and then you close Photoshop, it opens back up in whatever the last color you were using.
Oh, you mean in the drawing?
Like, say we
Like,
were working on our character and we were using, say, the color yellow.
then it will come up with yellow as your drawing color.
Yeah, as the default instead of black.
Yeah, you know, actually, I'm glad you mentioned colors, because one thing that you could do right now that would be helpful to you, you could even do this on a separate layer, is you could change the color to like maybe an orange color, and you could try drawing in these guidelines, which might help you out, you know, with doing these proportions. Um, so like, you know, if I draw one sort of halfway through, and of course, if you want to, you could use Photoshop's tools to get these guidelines perfect. You can hold your shift key down, and as you draw, you'll make a perfect line, but I don't know, for some reason, I'm not in the perfect lines right now.
we supposed to draw on his face there?
What's that? What do you say,
I
JD?
asked, are we supposed to draw on his face there?
Yeah. Draw his little face there.
Oh, okay.
And then we got to do the eyes from the other day, which I have no memory of at all.
I sort of remember, so I did something as close as I thought.
Okay, that's good. Well,
I just didn't do the guy with no face.
oh yeah, do the guy with no face.
Do we post these in the chat?
Sure. Yeah. Um, Okay, so I just finished mine. If you guys are done with yours, post them in the chat, and would love to see them. I'm gonna go ahead and save mine. Kind of drawing. Day 7-3. Okay, yeah, post them in the chat. Let's take a look at what some of you guys have done. Or if you already put them in your folder, you can let me know that, and I can look there too.
I'm gonna upload mine. Hold on.
Okay. Okay, Garrett says his is in his folder, so we go to Drive.
Mine's in chat as well.
Okay. Wow, those eyes are great, Garrett. Those eyes really look like some of the eyes from that other page. You have a good memory. I like his face here. It's pretty funny expression. It looks like you got your proportions pretty good too. That looks really nice. Yeah, it looks like it made a difference using the straight line tool in Photoshop. That probably allowed you to make stuff much better. So nice job there. Okay, so we are downloading JD's, and then I'll download Vlad's as well. Yeah, so Diane says she loves your guidelines, and I do too. They're really well done.
Damn, those eyes.
Yeah, those eyes are great, man. Love them.
Holy shit.
Okay, so let's see. It looks like JD's is done. Let's see. I could click to open, so what the hell? Was this it? Is this JD's? Oh, yeah. Okay. So there's yours, JD's. Nice eyes down here. I think those look really good. Yeah, and it looks like you got your face pretty proportionate just from looking at it. Of course, I think the guidelines are super helpful too. So you might consider trying one at one point with the guidelines to see if that helps any. I like his face. It looks like a demon come and tore his eyes out of his head.
Yeah, he's kind of angry because I had to draw his face.
Yeah, I would be too. Okay, so here's Vlad's. Okay. Oh man, I love the face, Vlad. This is like your expression right now, right?
Yep.
This guy looks cool. I like all the planes in his head, all the different facets of his head, you know. Eyes look cool too. Very nice.
New superhero.
Yeah, very cool.
It's a monkey.
The monkey hero. Let's see. So we've got Diane.
The chimpanzee. A.
Looks like he got a little too close to the heat lamp.
A little bit.
Okay, here's Diane's. Wow. This face here looks like it has a lot of weight to it, doesn't it?
Are you saying the man is fat?
No, sir. I'm saying that he looks three-dimensional. It looks like it's got
Oh,
form, you know, as opposed to being flat. Something about the way that she just added these lines in, these planes here, make you feel like there's a three-dimensionality to the face. It's really nice. The eyes are cool. I think everybody's drawing their own personal expression right here on these faces here. That's a pretty funny one there. Let's see. How do we use the straight line tool? It looks kind of squashed. Okay. So the way to use the straight line tool in Photoshop is click on your drawing implement here, which can be a pencil or a brush, and then just hold down the Shift key and click and start dragging across the screen. And whether you drag straight across or straight up and down, it's going to make straight lines, right? Now, another thing you can do is 45-degree angles, which is kind of weird. You just click in one place, drag your mouse up at like kind of a 45-degree angle, hold your Shift key down and hit click again, and it will drive a 45-degree angle. Or you can drag a 45-degree angle just from clicking and shift clicking. So I'm gonna hold my Shift key down. If I let me see, I want to show you this. Okay, hold my Shift key down. Okay, if I drag straight up, it makes that line. If I drag straight across, it makes this line. And the only way I seem to be able to get 45-degree angles is to click once, go up to where I think the 45-degree is, hold down my Shift key, and click again. And it will automatically do the 45. I never do 45, so I'll always do straight and up and down and across, but that's it. Okay, so then here's a couple more.
Thank you, that's really helpful.
You're welcome. Okay, so this is Anjane's face, which also looks really good and also is very, can you see how just by adding these planes in, she made it look more three-dimensional? Because it gives depth to the character, because you can see the front part of the face and then everything else clearly the sides. So that one's super nice. And then here are her eyes, also very nice. Okay, was there anybody else who uploaded one or put one in their folder that we haven't seen yet? Oh, Hugo. Okay, let's see. So we'll go back here. Hugo. All right, this one here. Okay, cool. Yeah, actually, all of these elements are in the right places. The eyes are right. The mouth. I think the mouth comes down a little bit more. See this line over here? You might want to pull that mouth down a little more. And the nose starts in the right place, but I think it also has to come down just a little more, be a little longer. But other than that, the proportions are really good. And then the eyes look really good. I like his face. I like the dark circles under his eyes. I wonder how many weird faces. That's Jason right there. I wonder how many weird faces he's had sent to him from students.
I think he needs a nap.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Luna says it looks great. And Blake has one. Okay, let's see. Okay. Here. Wow, that looks just like that. That's really good, Blake. Really good eye. I mean, this looks, if these lines were perfectly straight, it would look just like this guy. Really nice. And then those eyes look good too. I like his face. He's got that face on. Yeah, really good. You got a great sense of proportion. You didn't even use guidelines when you did that. That's awesome. Okay, so we got Blake, and I think, okay, he's giving me golf wang vibes. I don't even know what golf wang is. What's golf wang?
Like Tyler the Creator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. the little drawing that they do.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Very nice. Okay, now we have one more drawing in this exercise, and what it is if you go to your day 4 file, It says, with all your fresh memories of head proportions, as well as cognitive studies of eyes, nose, and mouth, it's time to put this all together. Draw a face for me from memory with everything you've learned so far. Now, after you draw his face in, take a careful look at it, and then just write down 3 mistakes that you think you made. In other words, things you think could be improved. Now, you're welcome to put guidelines on this if you want. So, like, if I were to put a new layer on this, I could change my color to orange, and just click on my brush tool, hold my shift key down, and I could put some guidelines that would help me make this a lot more accurate, I think. Let's see. Then I think the eye is going to be right there. This eye is going to be right there. And then there's like I think the mouth gets divided twice like that. That's probably enough for me. And then, so that's going to be my guides layer. And then I'll do my artwork on another layer. Let's see. Looks like he has this giant forehead. You could put a like whole billboard on this forehead or something like that. Okay, don't forget to write down the 3 mistakes that you think you made. Okay, when you finish your drawing, maybe upload it to the chat or put it in your folder so that we can check it out. And don't forget to save it so you'll have a record, like a journal of this class and all your drawing that you did it. Those guidelines really help. Do you guys think the guidelines help? They really help me put things in the correct place. Okay, here is JD's. I like the expression JD on this guy. And you did a better job than I did. You put his eyes up higher so he has less forehead. I like that. Let's see. So lips, yeah, lips are always, I have a hard time. And then what's this waking up joke thing here? What's that?
Yeah, waking up. Just kidding.
Oh, okay. All right. So that was the mistake you made. Got it.
I really think only was the lips.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I like his expression, like all these little lines here and the kind of half-closed eyes, they give him a definite, you know, like feel, like he's definitely emoting something, which is really cool. All right, who else has got something that they want to upload to the chat or put in their folder? Or maybe you guys need another minute to finish. Give you guys another minute. Just upload something if you got it, or let me know if it's in your folder. Okay, let's see. Day 3. I closed already, so I close that. What's this one? This one is just, okay, somebody else's. Right. Very nice, Hugo. I like those eyes, big giant eyes and the big old nose. Yeah, and you also did a nice job with using up the whole face. Like you used up the whole face vertically, so there's far less forehead, which makes a lot more sense. It makes him look more realistic. Hugo, if you had to write down 3 mistakes that you made on this, what would they be? Okay, mouth. Okay, what else? What are 2 more? The eyebrows, right? Can you think of one more thing? You think only those 2? Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, he looks really good. You might consider, like, it's interesting that you have these lines on the outside of the nose and these lines on the inside. And you might consider how it looks with just one or the other, or maybe one set kind of broken up so it's just a few lines suggesting. Because with this set entirely drawn in and this set entirely drawn in, it almost closes the shape of the nose completely. And I think if you just suggest a few lines by doing partial lines, you can create a different kind of look. So you might consider that. Okay, very nice. Who else has got something? Dude has a caffeine high. Well, somebody has to. I think that's the only way we wake up these days. All right, anybody else got one to upload? Okay, here's Diane's downloading. Oh, it looks really nice. Okay, you made the same mistake I did, which is the forehead is too big, although he probably does have a big forehead. Should have stretched out. I don't know what that last word is. Should.
The face?
Oh, face.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean, in other words, take the pieces of the face and stretch them out more.
Yeah. Give them more space.
Yeah, that's exactly the same thing I did too. I made a very compact face in the middle of this tall head. So if I had to do it again. And then
Like
the
it's
next one.
zoomed in.
What's that?
It's like it's zoomed in.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, that's one way you could fix it in Photoshop is just, do a marquee around here and just kind of like scale it up, you know what I mean? Pull it, make it bigger. Yeah, it looks really good though. These guidelines probably helped that you put in. And then the eye shape, yeah. It's hard sometimes when you just draw that sort of standard eye shape by itself. You have to go back in and take some lines out and adjust it so that it looks a little more realistic. Because if you have lines that are just very solid, it almost, and that's true of all the face parts. If you have lines that are completely solid around the nose, around the eyes, around the lips, they look like they're stuck on. You know what I mean? Like the lips, when you draw completely around them, they look like those wax lips that maybe you bought when you were kids. I don't know if they still had them around when you guys were kids, but so you got to be careful to leave spaces between the lines and make the shapes a little different so they're not exactly almond eyes but a little different. Yeah, but I still think it looks good. I mean, even with all the things you said here. Very nice. Marquee tool I shall try. Okay. All right, anybody else have got one? All right, well, if you do have one, feel free to upload it in the chat or let me know where it is and we'll take a look at it. Some of you may be a minute or two away from finishing. While you're doing that, we're going to go on to the next thing, which is we have a animation exercise today. So what we're going to do is watch the next in the series of 12 principles of animation. And then after that, we'll look at any work that you guys have done. So I'm going to click on this video link here, and we're going to watch the video and then do an exercise. Oh, wait, we got one more. A couple more images to look at first. Let's look at these real quick. Okay, so this is Anjanae, and so these are the things that she wrote in a couple things that she could improve on: a better mouth, more details with the ears, and she could add in shading and wrinkles. Okay, but yeah, you got such a good eye for the shape of the face, the way that you put that circle and made the little oval underneath it, and the eyes look really good. You know, everything looks really good, but you know, as you say, you could do more details and other things. It's good to be self-critical in a positive way. You know, ways you can improve it, not like ways I hate my drawing, but you know, ways to make them stronger. Okay, so let's see. That was hers, and then this is Williams. Okay, here's Williams. All right, it looks cool. I like the eyebrows a lot, William. So it says eyes are wonky, proportions are a bit off, a lack of this last word here is a mystery to me.
Detail.
Oh, detail. Okay, thank you. Now I see it. You should be a doctor when you grow up. Okay. So let's see. I like the top shading of the lips and the bottom shading. You know, there's still some more work you could do here, but it looks good the way that you're doing that. I think the bottom of the nose looks good. You know, yeah, there's improvements you can make to the eyes and stuff, but I love those eyebrows. They're very dimensional. You know, they look like they go into the forehead, which is really cool. Okay, very nice. Let's see. So we saw those two. Diane said Anthony's face shape is really nice. Okay, and I think, let's see, is there a second one here that we didn't see? Oh, no, I think we saw all those. Okay. All right. So, you know, you can still upload them and we'll still look at them, but let's go ahead and watch this video. This is principle number 6, slow in and slow out.
This video is based on the 12 principles of animation as described by Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston. Alright, so the next principle is called slow in and slow out. This principle refers to the way pretty much all movement starts slowly, builds speed, and finishes slowly. This is one of the most important principles to achieving lifelike motion. Without slow in and slow out, things feel mechanical. That's because robots are one of the only things that actually move their parts at a constant speed. To use this principle in 2D animation, you take your extreme poses, draw a single in-between, and then draw in between those, then only in between the drawings closest to the extremes until you're satisfied with the amount of slow in and slow out. With 3D animation and motion graphics, adding slow in and slow out is a matter of changing the motion curves from linear to spline by adjusting the Bezier handles. As time progresses, the object starts slow, gets fast, and ends slowly. Use it wisely. For example, you wouldn't add a slow out to a bouncing ball as it's colliding with the ground, but you would add it as it's bouncing back up. You wouldn't add it to a bullet coming out of a gun, but you would add it as the gun comes up due to whiplash. Using this principle can allow you to only have to draw one in-between if the motion is quick enough. Draw one in-between and then add another frame on either end with the drawing slightly skewed in the correct direction, and then it's done. Sometimes you don't even have to add the one in-between. This kind of motion can be achieved in 3D with very extreme curves. Many people starting out with animation get impatient and draw the next frame very far away from the beginning. It's very unrealistic for a character to go from completely still to super fast, so adding a few drawings to ease into it will fix the problem. A good way to fix a choppy animation is to analyze the space between the drawings. They should be evenly spaced, with drawings closer together at the beginning of the action and at the end of the action, and drawings farther apart in the middle. So that's it for slow in and slow out. The next principle is called arcs. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Okay, so I'm going to launch Adobe Animate here. So go back to the class website. Okay, so now we're going to do an exercise using that principle, which is slow in and slow out. Now, I like to give you guys as much freedom as possible when you're creating your animations and doing your exercises. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to animate in my slow in and slow out. But if you can think of something else you would prefer to animate using the same principle, you're welcome to do that. So if you remember in the video we just saw, there was an alligator that was lying on the ground, and then he stood up. And what the author of these videos suggested is, you draw the character on the ground, you draw him stood up, right? It's almost like a pose to pose animation, right? Then you draw one in between, and then you do an extra frame, right after the first one and right before the last one, and you just slightly skew the character over a little so that he starts to move a little bit, he's in the middle, he's skewed a little more, and then he's at his final pose. So I'm going to do something like that, not with an alligator, probably with a simpler creature like a cat or something. So I'd like you guys to do a drawing of an animation of slow in, slow out as well. So I'm going to go to Adobe Animate, just click File, New. And just hit Create. It really doesn't matter which one we use. We're just doing an exercise. Okay, so you can plan out your animation a little bit. So at a minimum, this type of animation would have five frames to it, right? There'd be the first frame, which would be, the drawing of the character. Maybe what I'll do is I'll sketch each one out on one layer, and then go back in and redraw it really as well as I possibly can. So the very first frame is going to have a character just laying on the ground, or it could be a character sitting in a chair, just in some sort of pose where they're going to have to change that pose to get up, basically. So I'm going to shrink my let's see, pen down a little bit. Let's see how big that is. That's still too big. Okay, so like I said, I'm just going to sketch out something super rough, and then I can come back and fix it. So I'm going to draw like a little cat who's on the ground, just kind of stretched out. Okay, so that's going to be my first frame. And also, this guy's really kind of small, so I can click on my marquee tool, my selection tool. I can drag a marquee around this whole guy, and then click on the second tool down, which is Free Transform. And I can hold my Shift key down and grab one of these handles, and I can bring him up a lot, so obviously it'd be a lot easier to draw this guy if he's like this, right? Now, like I said, I can do a better version of this drawing, just putting in my little sketches now. What I can do now is I can go to the next frame, right click, and I can insert a keyframe, which will be the exact same drawing as the one before. Now, if I turn on my onion skin, and I go to my second drawing here, I can use my skew tool. Let's see. I think I can just skew by like dragging this over to the right a little bit. Let me see if that's right. No, it's not. Okay, so skew is, where the heck is skew in this program? All right, I'm gonna have to transform. Okay, rotate and skew. Okay, I did.
Is it holding down Control while dragging on one of the edges? Or am I thinking of the wrong one?
Possibly. Let's see. Well, I just clicked rotate and skew, and I'm trying to see how it works. Oh, here's how it works. Okay, so this is how it works. You select your subject, you go under Modify Transform, you choose Rotate and Skew, right? And then you take your mouse and you hold it over the center, one of the center handles, and it becomes this arrow going either way. And then when you drag it, it skews your character a little bit. And of course, skewing just means taking something and sort of bending it over like you would in a funhouse mirror, just kind of skewing it a little. So what I did was on the second frame, I skewed the cat so that it looks like he's got this motion like he's going to get up, right? Okay, and so now I can go to the third frame, right click and insert a blank keyframe, which I always need to do if I'm going to, make a drawing on there. Now, I actually don't think I want to make the middle drawing just yet, because I'm thinking sort of pose to pose. So I think what I want to do is, okay, we know that the first drawing is whatever creature laying on the ground. The second one is like a skewed version of it. The third one's going to be him in the middle. The fourth one's going to be him skewed. And the fifth one's going to be him standing up. Now, I think I want to go to the fifth one of him standing up and see how he looks. And then it's going to be easier for me to draw the one in between. Maybe you guys might work differently. You might draw the one in between and then make the one at the end look, like a stand-up version of that. But I like to do things a little differently. So in order to do that, I'm going to need to make 2 more blank keyframes. So insert a blank keyframe at 4 and insert a blank keyframe at 5. And then I'm going to have to grab my little blue line here for my onion skinning and drag it all the way back so I can still see where the cat is. Now at frame 5 here, I'm going to have to draw him standing, in his stand-up pose. Now I'm just thinking the cat's actually going to stand up. Not like cats ever do stand up like this, but just for fun, right? So, fortunately my beast has a really easy shape here. So I can just make him stand up in a totally unnatural way that no cat would ever stand. But that's what's great about animation. Okay. And I can give him his little kitty paws here. All right. Now let's see. All right. Where's my eraser? Here. All right. No, Hugo, it doesn't have to be an animal. It could be a person sitting that stands up. It can really be anything that you can think of where you can use this sort of slow in and slow out principle, right? Okay, so now that I've got my 5th frame, I can drag a marquee around that. Or actually, maybe an easier way to do it would be right-click on the frame and say Copy Frames. Now I can go back to my 4th frame and I can right-click and I can say Paste Frames. So it's going to put an exact copy of frame 5 in there. Now I can go modify, transform, rotate and skew. I can click on this center one here and skew this over a little bit. So it looks like the movement right before he goes in that position, right? So now I've got the original one, the skewed one, I've got the end one and the skewed one. Now I can go back to frame 3 and try and draw something right in between these that will make sense. Um, now the principle we're going to learn next is arcs, and I guess I'm a big fan of arcs. You might even call them motion lines or something like that. I might even draw it in a different color here, but I like to draw in arcs on a separate layer, just to kind of show me how the creature is moving, right? So, for example, here's his head, and one of the things that we're going to learn when we learn about arcs is everything moves in an arced path. Nothing moves, perfectly straight. So, like in this case, here's the side of his head, and if I draw kind of an arc like this, I can see how his head is going to move from one position to the next, right? And that can help me when drawing him. And like I can see that his head is much smaller here and it's much wider here. And that's kind of problematic. It would have been better if I made it smaller. I could still go back in and make it smaller, but just for grins, I'll draw a second arc here. If this were realistic, it would probably be, more like this. But what that does is that gives me a position where I can put his head in this middle frame, Like I said, his head is disproportionately big. And if I wanted to, I could go in and do little arcs for his body and stuff like that. But I'll just leave those two drawings there to help me out. I'll go back to layer 1, and I'll go back to my black color here. And I'll try and draw an in-between frame that kind of makes sense, although these two drawings are so different, it's not going to make a lot of sense. So let's see. And of course, the creature's in motion right now, so it's just going to be something that's going to flash by. Okay, and then I got to draw his body. I got to remember his feet. All right. Maybe I'll draw his feet kind of bent a little bit. Oh, it's like too much feet for this guy. He's got a lot more body than feet. And then I can always do his little paws kind of out like this. Okay, so I'll just start with that, and of course I can always come back and clean these things up. Of course, I can turn off my arcs layer by clicking on this eyeball here, so that doesn't mess me up. And then it makes it easier for me to erase these extra lines I put in. Let's see, I do it better like this. Okay, so now I've got all 5 drawings. I can go in and change my frame rate by modify document. Sometimes if I just want to see how something works, I just set the frame rate to however many frames I've drawn, but that can be too fast. So like I could put in 5 frames per second, but that's probably too fast. Maybe I'll put in 2 frames per second. I don't know. We're just going to have to see. Of course, I'll turn off my onion skin. It can help to just kind of go through this. It looks like somehow my brush got a lot thinner on these last 2 frames, so I might go in and redraw him on the first frame and then skew him again. But let me just see how it looks right now. Let's see. Okay, that's too slow. Two frames per second is too slow. So try 5. And then hit that, and then hit play. Okay, even 5 is too slow because we really want to see the movement of him jumping into position, so I'll double that to 10. Try it again.
Now it's too fast.
Now it's too fast. Okay, so let's try 7. That one's not bad. 6 might be even a little better, but now I think I'm going to go in and redraw those first frames so that he's lighter lined. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back, and I think I'm going to make a new layer here. And then just redraw over this with my lighter pencil right now. Maybe I'll take this opportunity to give him a smaller head too. And of course, if you end up redrawing any frame, you should keep in mind where that is relative to other frames. Like, for example, I'm redrawing the first frame, which means I have to kill the second frame and make a copy of this first frame and then skew it on the second frame, because that was my whole plan. Okay, and now maybe I'm going to make his body a little smaller too so that it makes a little more sense. I can still use some of this angle that I did. Okay, so now I can delete that first frame, and now I've got a sort of different looking cat. Of course, I'm going to have to copy that off of the frame I drew it on, so I'm going to do copy frames, come down to my original layer and paste the frame so that he's just using up one frame instead of going across all 5, right? Now I can delete that second layer, and now I've got this guy. Now I know I'm gonna delete the second frame, so I'll just click on that and hit delete. Now it becomes a blank keyframe, right? So all I have to do is clean up this first frame, and then I can copy it and skew it for the second frame. Okay, so now I can right click on this, copy frames, click on the second frame, right click, paste frames. Okay, now I turn on my onion skin, make sure, let's see, yeah, that's correct. And then I go modify, transform, rotate and skew, click on my tool here, let's see, modify, transforms, oh shoot, I kept hitting the wrong thing. Modify, transform, rotate and skew. Okay, and now I skew him over, oops, this way a little bit. And you could, when you do your skew, you know, you could always skew it and scale it as well, so it looks like he's kind of standing up. I just made it look like he's in the same position, but changes a little bit, right? Okay, and then we can turn off our onion skin. And let's see. I still think he could be just a little slower so we could see it. Wow, that's 3 frames per second and it's still too fast. No, it's 6. That's what I thought. It's 5. Oh, I was on frame 3. Okay. Yeah, so there's my cat standing up. And now he's got the same line weight all the way through. You can see that that second frame is just a sort of a slight variation on the first one, so it just gives him a little movement. Of course, the middle frame just kind of gives you a position in between the two, so it makes a little more sense. And then the fourth frame, the one right before the last one, is once again just a little bit of a skew to make it look like he's kind of settling in place. So that's the whole thing about slow in, slow out. You start out kind of slow, you speed up, and then you slow down again. And that's why we have the 2 frames at the beginning and the 2 at the end. Those are this, you know, those are starting out slow and then slowing down. And then the middle one represents quickness because there's no frames around it, so it just moves very quickly. Okay, so why don't you guys take a few minutes and work on that, and then if you have something you would like to share with us, just save it as an FLA in your folder and put something in the chat, and we'll take a look at it. So once again, I'll give you guys, let's say about, it's 11:34 right now, so let me give you like 11 minutes. We'll check back at 11:45, and we'll see if anybody's got anything in the folder that we can look at.